Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. So basically today I want to share my first impressions, or let's just say my second first impression, because I've already tested and worn this fragrance of Vanilla Queen by Rogue Perfumes, a fragrance that's supposed to be an inspiration of Burberry Goddess. I've tried Angham by Lattafa as an inspiration of Burberry Goddess, and I've also tried Athena as an inspiration of Burberry Goddess, and even though both had their own beauty, let's say, but none gave me what Burberry Goddess gave me. So when the team from the Dupe collection told me they want to send me some fragrances, I kindly asked them if they could send me this fragrance because I was so curious to try it. So yeah, in today's video I want to let you know what I think about this fragrance so far. In terms of performance, most likely I will give you an update because first things first, this is a freshly opened bottle. I think I received it 2 days ago. So yeah, but this fragrance, one thing about Rogue Perfumes, they create inspirations for different designer niche fragrances. They also have their own blends, so unique creations. But one thing about them, I'd say a good 70% of everything I've tried from them in terms of inspirations are great inspirations, but they have some fragrances that are outstanding inspirations. This is one of them. Also 28 flavors from Rogue, a dupe, not even a dupe, an upgrade to Vanilla 28 by Kayali. That one is another outstanding fragrance from them. Few others, but today's video is about vanilla. First things first, let me just spray it. But what I was hoping this fragrance would give me, a darker vanilla. I feel like in Burberry Goddess, what makes this fragrance stand out and why this fragrance is such a remarkable fragrance is the vanilla accord. Accords. They've listed multiple vanilla accords like Vanilla Absolute, Vanilla Caviar. Not really sure what's the technology behind Vanilla Caviar, you know, like what type of accord is that, but they used for sure a very high quality vanilla accord that not only added sweetness, but a darker, kind of more of a balsamic vanilla pot type of sweetness. It has added also depth, it has added richness, it has overall made the fragrance feel extremely layered and thick and full-bodied and decadent. And I feel like the other inspirations I've tried, the vanilla accord, even though in Angham, by the way, in Angham, maybe I will do a short where I'll compare this fragrance to Angham. First review I've posted on Angham was around 8 months ago because I've checked. The update was, I think, around 6 months ago, and from the last update I gave you on the fragrance up until now, I've noticed even further changes. But who has the time to get a fragrance, to wait for almost a year and then to review it? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have the time. And also people lose interest by that time in the fragrance. I feel like if it's a new release, if you don't review it in the first month, after that people lose interest. But anyways, back to this fragrance. So let me just spray it again because I want to get the opening, because I kept talking about Burberry Goddess and other fragrances and I want to get the full experience. So first things first, this is an experience to test, to wear. The quality is amazing. So this opens up with a burst of lavender. Lavender fragrances can give you a lot of different facets, and not all lavender accords are done alike. So this, to me, this lavender accord in particular, it definitely has this essential oil-esque undertone about it, like I've mentioned, but it doesn't feel sharp. This is the smoothest, round around the edges lavender accord I've tried. Borderline, it almost feels creamy. Not creamy the whole standalone fragrance, creamy this lavender accord. This is how smooth it feels. So yes, it's strong. Yes, it's loud. Yes, it's the main facet I pick up in the opening is this burst of lavender. But again, in like 5 minutes, I feel like it moves more and more in the background. So from feeling like a spotlight accord in the opening, it acts more like a facet as the fragrance gets a chance to develop. But yeah, this is, and I'm not a fan of lavender, you guys. Don't get me wrong, I've mentioned this, I will mention it again. I'm not a fan of lavender in fragrances for women. I struggle a lot with the lavender. Even with this kind of lavender that's so smooth, that's so almost like silky smooth type of lavender, I still struggle a little bit with it, especially when I apply it on my clothes, because when I apply it on my skin, like I told you, in like 5 minutes, the lavender moves in the background. But when I do apply it on my clothes as well, and I've actually paid a lot of attention on this aspect, it does linger for let's just say another 5 minutes. So let's just say for altogether around 10 minutes on your clothes. The lavender is the spotlight. But then you guys, besides the lavender, I pick up a beautiful powdery gingery facet in the opening, and in the background I pick up a creamy vanilla. At this moment on in the opening, the vanilla is not that dark. It's not such a dark, deep vanilla pot type of vanilla. I'd say it's a vanilla that feels rich and creamy texture wise. Don't think creamy lactonic, it's not the kind of vanilla. No, it just feels creamy around the edges. It does add sweetness, so the lavender sits on a sweet base with that beautiful sweet spicy accents from the powdered ginger. So it's not a ginger that's like a freshly cut ginger, like a vibrant, effervescent. No, it's a spicy powdery ginger to me, so it feels a bit more sweet, especially paired with the vanilla. So this I'd say is the opening. Again, give it 5 minutes, the lavender facet moves in the background and in a way starts to act more like a facet, like a nuance to the composition, and the vanilla does develop so beautifully. So I'd say from the heart up until the dry down, to me it's the vanilla that gives you the most show and it has the most significant development. So slowly but surely gets darker, it starts to feel richer, it starts to develop almost this slight vanilla pod undertones. And if you've ever smelled vanilla pod, like an actual vanilla pod, you know the vanilla, the scent, it's sweet, it's definitely reminiscent to vanilla, but in a way it smells aged, it smells a little bit balsamic. So the sweetness, it's overall a much darker, more decadent and richer of a sweetness than your regular, I don't know, like think vanilla essence that's much brighter, much more girly, much more edible in a way. So this is dark, this is mysterious, and I start to pick up a beautiful cocoa powder facet in this fragrance, you guys, and the cocoa powder feels warm. So from feeling quite cold in the opening, from the lavender now it starts to feel a little bit more warm, a little bit more, definitely much more layered, and the vanilla and the cocoa powder with a touch of ginger are the spotlight. And then in the background I pick up the lavender, and also to me I pick up patchouli, you guys. I picked up patchouli in Angham, I pick up patchouli in Burberry Goddess. I pick up this green aromatic touch that's reminiscent of patchouli. Not the kind that's earthy, skanky thing. Black Orchid from Tom Ford is not the kind of patchouli, but the patchouli that almost feels like a darker, more of an herbal crushed mint kind of scent, you know? Yeah, beautiful inspiration, you guys. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful inspiration. And again, the quality. One thing that stood out to me is the quality of the ingredients. I'm telling you, I don't know where they source their fragrance oils from. I'm not really sure, but they have certain fragrances that they come out with inspirations for them. They are outstanding. Like you cannot even tell it's an inspiration. Like if you would smell this fragrance blindly, by how photorealistic the lavender of course smells like, first things first, the vanilla of course smells like, the cocoa powder, the ginger, everything smells so realistic. And one thing I appreciate, nothing feels flat, nothing feels screechy, nothing feels sharp. It does feel very loud and bold and a little bit more challenging in the opening if you are not one who loves lavender. If you love lavender, if lavender is one of your favorite notes in fragrances, I actually think you will have a very beautiful experience testing this fragrance, because again, it's an experience to test it. Yeah, they really did a beautiful job. I feel like the opening and the heart are the most similar. I feel like in the dry down, basically, from the heart to the dry down, subtle things are changing. And again, keep in mind, this is a freshly opened bottle, so maybe the scent will evolve with time. Once it gets a chance to sit a little bit, I'm not sure, but I will keep you updated. But what I like is the vanilla and the way they did the vanilla. The vanilla feels rich, you guys. The vanilla feels decadent. The vanilla feels definitely reminiscent of the scent of vanilla pod. What I would have hoped though is the vanilla to be even a little bit more sweet, but maybe that's just my preference. I think the key with this fragrance and why it's so well loved is because what Burberry did with this blend. I'm not really sure who's the perfumer behind, but to me, I think it's so well loved because it's such a balance between the sweetness and the lavender with something patchouli-like, you know, that not really that cuts from the sweetness, but it balances out the sweetness in a very beautiful, harmonious way. So the sweetness, it doesn't come across as sickly sweet, it doesn't come across as suffocatingly sweet, you know, it feels like a modern composition because of this beautiful balance between something that's so rich and decadent and layered like the vanilla with the cocoa powder, with the ginger and everything, and something so modern. Like, you don't usually find this kind of mix lavender with patchouli in a fragrance created for women, especially in the designer world. I feel like with lavender, if I remember correctly, I think Libre was the first fragrance that really put lavender in the world of designer releases for women. I think that was very bold for the time. But the lavender in Libre, it's a little bit different. Anyways, this is not about Libre. Yeah, I really like the pairing between these two. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, I still feel like the lavender is a bit too... I feel like it overpowers me a little bit. I feel like it dominates me. Instead of me wearing the fragrance, I feel like in the opening it's a little bit the lavender that wears me, you know what I mean? But again, give this fragrance a few minutes, and the way this fragrance develops, and also the way this fragrance goes through stages, and the changes are, some are more subtle, some are more present, but even the subtle ones, like once you pick them up, it's such a harmonious development. Yeah, I think they did a beautiful job with this fragrance, and I cannot wait to see how this fragrance will evolve. Also, if you know one thing about Rogue, you know they are not playing when it comes to the concentration of a fragrance. This is very oily, so oily to the point where, like, if you wear something like this and you spray it very close, like from here, you might stain the fabric, especially if it's like, I don't know, like satin or more like softer, thinner fabrics. Be careful. Yeah, now what to tell you about this fragrance, you guys? It does, you know, like the expression in English, like it scratches the ick. No, I don't think I remember correctly. Anyways, does it give me what I wanted, an inspiration to give me? Yes, it does. Would have I preferred it to be like 5% more sweet, of course, but you know me, I love my sweet fragrances. But I'm not really sure what kind of vanilla they use, but if they have used a good, well done vanilla accord, the vanilla accord will age. Vanilla and fragrances, like if it's natural vanilla, even I think a vanilla accord, if I'm not mistaken, I think it ages with time. So yeah, I cannot wait. Maybe it will get sweeter with time. I'm telling you, for Angham, you guys, I needed like a good, like honestly, like a good 8 months. I revisited that fragrance because I wanted to test them side by side and see. It took like a good 8 months for that fragrance to... And I still struggle with the opening in Angham, because in Angham, the opening, the lavender in the opening, not only it feels essential oil-esque, but it also has this sharpness about it, sharpness that I do not find in Vanilla Queen from Rogue. So yeah, the lavender, even though I'm not the most familiar with this accord, this particular accord in fragrances, I'm starting to see that even lavender can feel cheap sometimes, or it can feel like a high quality lavender oil, you know, you'd use for aromatherapy. So yes, the opening does give me a little bit of this like aromatherapy, therapeutic, spa-like effect. But again, like 5 minutes on the skin, 10 minutes on clothes, it does evolve. And the energy, to me, it's assertive, but it's mysterious, but it's sensual at the same time. To me, it's a woman, like a very strong, confident, assertive woman that discovers her softness, her inner sweetness, her inner juiciness, you know. To me, this is the vibe this fragrance gives me, because at a first sniff, you might be put off by the lavender, by something reminiscent to patchouli. I pick up patchouli, like I've mentioned. So at the first sniff, you might be almost like thrown off a little bit by how assertive this could come across. But if you give this fragrance time, it does become sweeter in the way it opens up, but it never loses the assertive side. So yeah, to me, this is a beautiful balance of light energy, of dark energy, of something that comes across, like I've mentioned, very assertive, very bold, very daring, very don't mess with me, which is the mix of the lavender with the patchouli. But then that's like rounded up, that's like enveloped by the vanilla with the cocoa powder, with the ginger. Okay, so those were my first impressions of Vanilla Queen. Beautiful fragrance, beautiful fragrance. If you have access, if you're in the UK, I know a lot of my audience from UK have tested Rogue Perfumes, and a lot of them came back with amazing feedback. I know there you can find fragrances that are not even available on Dubai Collections website, but also the other way around. I received questions about fragrances from Rogue Perfumes that are available on Dubai Collections website, but you are not able to find them on the brand's website in UK. I'm not really sure. Maybe they have some collections in collaboration with Dubai collection. I'm not really sure. I don't know the behind the scenes. All I can tell you is that this inspiration is an outstanding inspiration, but it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. I think this, try it. Definitely start with a sample, start with a decant. Take advantage of the fact that you can find samples and decants available for decent prices. And I'd say get a 5 ml, test it, smell it, wear it a few times and see how you feel about it and see. I think mainly what might some find challenging is the lavender, but I found challenging the lavender in Angham as well. Surprisingly, the lavender accord in Burberry Goddess, I didn't find it as challenging if you ask me. But I think that's because of the vanilla accord they used. In a way, it enveloped the lavender, but the lavender here moves in the background. Anyways, at this moment on, I'm just rambling, you guys. This was supposed to be a quick first impressions. Not so quick, apparently. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to tell me anything, please put it in the comment section and I promise that I will get back to you. But yes, thank you so much for watching, you guys. Thank you for being here. I will see you hopefully in my next video. But until then, I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye, guys.